She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment. Now come on now.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Coach Erica Arthur China T, and this is our Never Date Just One Sis journey. We have been on this journey for quite a few weeks. We have done a lot of different episodes, went through a lot of information. I've done a recap of everything that we went through from the first part of this up until we get to our first dates. All the videos are here on YouTube. Make sure that you go watch all the videos starting with the first episode and work your way up to where we're currently now. Also, the Never Date Just One Sis book is officially released and ready to go. The link is going to be on this video. You can always go over to TikTok shop. This is also a feature in the TikTok shop. You can purchase your copy of the Never Date Just One Sis book. And inside it, you will find practical tools and guides on how you can stop losing yourself as you're trying to have the one find you in your energy. You can also understand the difference between the categories of men, the types of men there are, and the ones you should avoid. And there's so much more in there, including your first date tracker, your active roster tracker, and your closed chapter roster. And these are going to help you be able to track different behaviors from multiple people that you're dating. Also, this book goes into detail of why you must abstain for sex. If you have a need for sex, babe, sis, listen. Your need for sex, your need for a good time, your need for head, your need for orgasms or whatever that is causing you to consistently get the results that you no longer want. And what are those results? Unmet needs. And what are those results? Unmet needs. Yes, you're getting your cat scratched and it feels good, but when it's all said and done and wears off, you're back to trying to figure out how things are going to get done in your life. And that is where you're dropping the ball because you're still using sex as a binding tool to a man. When I've said over and over, sex is nothing but a new experience for a man, is emotional for women. So take out sex. This is what Never Date Just One series is about. We're not using sex or our body as a bind or a guide to any man's heart or anything like that, or wallet, unless they're paying you up front and the conditions are set. And that payment up front includes the rent for the month and some other bills. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but make sure that you are getting your needs met, however that is, okay? So now, today I want to jump into going back through the first dates. Now we got all the way up into what Tammy needed to do in terms of to get to those first dates. I actually want to get inside of those first dates, talk about the men that she went on the first date with, tell you about how she categorized them, what type of man they was. She hasn't met any that she needed to avoid, but we definitely need to talk about the first date etiquette. I went into it briefly doing our recap, but I'm going to go into detail about the first date etiquette. First and foremost, sis, when it comes to first date etiquette, it's all about setting the scene just right for you, not for the people that you're dating. This is for you. All of this comes back to you because what we have put you in the front and everybody is behind you, okay? You want to make sure that you're dressed to match the vibe. I've said this. You have already had the initial 15 to 20-minute conversation with one of the people that you're dating, okay? You've already felt their vibe out. Y'all talked about the things that you like to do and the activities that you like. So you should kind of know where y'all are going. If he says first date is going to be great, it's going to be a surprise, then your next question needs to be, okay, I want to make sure I'm dressed right. Is this surprise casual or elegant? And he's going to be like, okay, it's casual. So no, you know how to go from there. Oh, it's elegant. You know how to go from there. It doesn't take anything but to throw a little question out there to get more details so you know how to dress, okay? Cleavage is great, okay? It attracts attention. It doesn't set a tone and mean that you're a whore or anything like that. It just means to say that you have a nice body and you like to put it on display and it's nice, period, okay? Something like what I have on right now would be something that I would wear to a casual date. If you can see, it's a jumpsuit and it has a jacket on. So this was something I would wear to a casual date. I can either put heels with this and make it a little dressy casual, or I could put tennis shoes with it and I can make it a real fun casual. Okay, so this outfit I have on right now is a definition of casual or dressy casual, because I could put a different pair of shoes on and make it look different. Okay. So if he's a laid back man, again, you want to fill out his vibe. You know exactly, what type of day he's probably going to go laid back. People probably go do things that are very laid back. Coffee, tea, walks on beach, poetry, things of that nature. Okay. If he's a adventurer, you know, adventurers do different things. They can end up in a club. They can end up on a helicopter. You don't know what it is about the adventurer. Again, gauge the man based on the first initial conversation, no more than 15 to 20 minutes. If you push that first conversation to a second conversation, I'm not mad at you. Please do not let 2 conversations go by and there is still no plans for dates, because now you're moving into getting wrapped up in his phone calls and texts. And he's going to know as soon as you expect him to call every day, he's going to eliminate having to take you out, because you're getting your needs met from phone calls. Remember, you like to go on dates. So 1 to 2 phone calls in more than 15 to 20 minutes make him miss you, and it needs to end in dates and plans being made. Okay. Now, next up, you want to keep the schedule on point. Okay. Certain nights of the week, I already stated this in a recap. Monday through Thursday only. Leave your Friday nights, your Saturday nights open for you, as well as your Sunday nights. You can use Sunday night as a date night because it's going into a Monday. You still have something to do the next day. You have to go to work, whatever it is. You are busy the next day, so you cannot do any dates over 2 hours, any overnight dates, none of those things. Okay. We're not there yet. We haven't learned enough about these men for us to be giving them all of that time and attention. We don't want them to think that they're the only person in our lives. We need them to know that they're our option. And how you let men know that they're options is that you open up your schedule. It doesn't matter if you're bored or not. They're not going to be everything that you do in text and calling all the time. All right. So, men are always acting like clockwork. Do you want to go home? You want to come spend the night with me? It's always going to be. Please stop feeling offended or going back and telling these stories about how he tried. You know he's going to try every woman that he's meet, because men are visual and sexual creatures. They're going to see if somebody's going to bite. Whether you know it or not, somebody prior to you did bite, and they did go home with him, and they did have a night, and that man probably never talked to them again, or probably dragged them for the next 6 months to a year with the house of free sex. However it ended, it ended in a way where he was not fulfilled. Here he is again. Okay. So now, use your roster tracker to track every date. Again, we already went through the roster tracker. I'm not going to go through it in detail again, but you know the things that you need to be looking for documented on your first dates: activity, awkwardness, attraction, funness, who paid. All of these things need to be documented so that you can keep up with the patterns of the people that you're dating and the tones that you're setting. Again, the tone that you set, the scene that you set comes from your standards and your limitations. Make sure you already have those identified and set in stone. Make sure you understand what you need, your needs from your needs assessment, and also make sure that you understand that you know your self-evaluation. So if you in your self-evaluation have determined that you do move too quickly into sex based off emotions, you need to kind of nip that in the bud and make it work to your advantage, because you can still be flirty and do all of those things, but you still got to get your needs met. That's in the forefront, not your pleasure. All right. So let's go back into Tammy's story. So here's Tammy's story. Tammy's first dates with her new roster of guys after getting herself back together. She's categorized the guys, the type of guys they are, and how the first dates went. So let's jump into that. She's got her standards set pretty high now. Okay, remember, she had healed the relationship trauma. She saw what Devin was trying to do. She fell for it twice. She wasn't falling again. She had to love herself through that, apologize to herself for falling for that, and then start doing things that spoke to her, the essence of her. Tammy's love language is acts of service. So she understands that she likes for guys to do things for her that makes her feel loved. Okay. Make sure that you also know your love language. Okay. You can get that in the 31 days to healing. 31 days to internal satisfaction, my healing guide. That's going to talk about your love language. You're also going to do your, a couple of other activities in that book, building yourself up, talking about all your likes and dislikes and things of that nature. Then I told you about self-love and all of those. So grab the 31 days to internal satisfaction prior to you jumping into never date just one. Heal all your stuff first and then come back here, okay? So now, because at that time, all your standards will be high. So you'll have your limitations, you'll have your boundaries, and you will not feel like you're getting tried, or you will not feel like you are getting played. Okay, so now let's break it down. She met Daquan. Okay, Daquan was somebody who she met. He was the intellectual, the gentleman. After talking to him in the first conversation, engaging at Daquan's charm, he had quick wit, he had love for intellectual conversations, he had good manners, he was chivalrous. Again, we talked about this before. Tammy was cautious about him because he seemed to be focusing on his career. There doesn't seem to be a work-life balance. She met him at a cute little wine bar, real cozy vibes, laid back. They talked about a lot of different things that they have commonalities, books they love, stories, hiking trips. It was all good. But he kept looking at his phone. Tammy did notice that the date was fun, but she in the back of her mind, she knew that she would be competing with this man job for his attention. Okay. The next guy was Joe, the adventuring bad boy. Tammy, he was fun, exciting, adventurous, but he had an avoidance of deep conversations that raised a red flag for Tammy because she is looking for a deeper connection this go around. And what he's suggesting is that he might not be looking for anything meaningful or serious or committed. So Tammy took that to consideration. She met him at a rooftop bar. They had some great wild stories, but every sentence that he started was, oh, you got to see the sunset, or, oh, I went here, or remember, let me tell you about the time I went to this place. Focusing too much on him and his experiences, again, shows he's not serious and not trying to find a serious connection. He's looking for somebody who wants to have fun with him. And unfortunately, that's not Tammy. She knows what she wants and she knows what she needs. And like, she wants fun, but it's not a need for what Joe is offering. Then you got Daquan, the romantic. He's stuck in his past. He has some great traits about him. He's comforting. He has a realness to him that fits with romantic. He has an emotional depth. He's authentic. But Tammy also realized he's still healing from a past breakup. He's stuck in his past and leaves her uncertain about his readiness for a serious relationship. But she still went on a date. He invited her to a jazz lounge. He did a set because he is a musician, so that was a surprise to her, and it was a turn on. He opened up about his recent breakup and said this is where Tammy has to put the brakes on him because he's still talking about the past and she does not want to be compared to nobody that came before her. So that is in the back of her mind. She walked away with mixed feelings, trying to understand if he's really trying to connect with her or if he wants to go back to his past. Then we have David. He's the alpha man. He's a moneymaker who lacks substance. Again, we talked about David has ambition. He has confidence. He has his alpha male energy. Whenever he walks into the room, he takes notice, but nothing else comes with him. He just draws or falls flat. He lacks substance. Tammy doesn't think that he's genuine about connections, but he is serious about his appearance. So she's trying to figure out if she's going to be a trophy girlfriend, trophy wife, or if he's going to be somebody who he deeply connects with. Okay. And he doesn't seem like his vision and goals aligns with hers. But she went to a fancy restaurant on a rooftop with $1 million view. So again, him spending money is not the problem. Tammy likes that, except his conversation was a bit smooth, but it lacked depth. It was about his job, his luxury items he's attained, the goals, the life that he's trying to live, the image he's trying to keep up. Unfortunately, Tammy is not a keep up with the Joneses type of woman. This doesn't do anything for her, and she doesn't see them connecting for long term. And then we have Ethan, a gentleman. He's a romantic. He's calm. He's nurturing vibes. It's a strong match for the gentleman and a romantic. He's grounded in his qualities. He shares some of the similar values that Tammy has initially. She gives him the green thumb. She gives him the thumbs up. He's thoughtful and he's stable. And Tammy feels like he's in tune with the goals of a meaningful relationship. So she met him at a coffee date shop. I told you, she felt the vibes of a low-key coffee shop date. As soon as they sat down, Tammy got right in, feeling comfortable, feeling calm. Ethan welcomed her. They talked about real stuff, their dreams, their values, their family. Everything was great, grounded. Ethan appeared grounded. He appeared to be listening to her by regurgitating what she's saying and giving his opinion. So she liked all of that. So she felt like this was a vibe that she can continue on. She didn't feel like he was doing too much, putting on the show. She didn't feel like there was any blockages that are going to stop them from moving forward. So she definitely liked the energy that came for that. So now after she went through those first 5 dates, and it wasn't all in 1 week, it took about a couple of weeks for her to go on all those dates. Remember, she's dealing with a Monday through Thursday time frame. That was 5 individuals, Monday through Thursday. Of course, she can't take all the dates one night apart. Even though it's possible, it can be daunting and draining for a woman, okay? So she split those 5 dates up over a 2-week period. Now, on the next 2 pages in this journal, we're going to talk about The first day tracker, what Tammy noticed about each guy, she documented on her tracker. And this is going to help her make the determination, or do she want to move them to the roster. So if we go back through all 5 of those guys, it's something that y'all do not do. And you have to start comparing and contrasting. DeQuan was an intellectual and a gentleman. The thing that Tammy liked about him was his intellectual conversation, and he was chivalrous. The thing she liked about Joe was the fact that he was adventurous and he was fun and he liked to have a good time. The thing she liked about Damon was the fact that he was comforting, he was real, he was a romantic, and there was some emotional depth to him. The thing that she liked about David was the fact that he was ambitious, he was very confident. She loves a guy with big energy, big confidence. And the thing that she liked about Ethan was more grounded. He has a combination between a gentleman and a romantic. He seems very true to his what he wants and his goals in terms of a meaningful relationship. So those are all the things that she liked about those 5 guys. And the thing that she didn't like about each one, for DeQuan, he seemed too in tune with his job. She don't know if there's going to be a work-life balance, if she's going to be competing with his job. That's a red flag for her, but not too big. But Joe, on the other hand, his conversation was flat, surface level. He avoided deep conversations, and he seemed like he was trying to find the next thrill and good time. Huge red flags. Then you got Damien. His red flags was he still seemed like he was stuck on past relationships. He had not gotten over those yet, and Tammy does not want to be compared to anybody that came before her. Then you got David. Tammy thinks that he's all about the appearance, the outside validation. He is a different man. He's trying to do different things. He's trying to appease to a different crowd. And Tammy's not trying to do that with her life. Okay. And then you got Ethan. He was stable. It wasn't too much about him that she did not like. It was a lot about Ethan she liked. She had not found any negatives as of yet. So Ethan wasn't anybody who she would have a problem with. So as she went down her tracker, where did they meet? She documented where she met each man, the date when they met, how long they talked, okay? And then that was a conversation of exchanging phone numbers and having the first conversation, okay? So then who initiated the date? Did Tammy have to bring it up, or did the man bring the date up? Who chose the place or activity? Tammy, of course, she's going to tell them what she likes to do, because every man is going to ask. And it's up to the man to decide what he's going to do, or he may outright ask Tammy what does she feel like doing, and she may tell him. How high were her expectations? What did she wear? Again, based on how she felt, engaged this man in conversation when she met him and over the phone. Now, if she didn't meet him, he come from a dating app. Again, the phone conversation is where she's going to be able to gauge who this man is. It's going to determine what she wears and how high her expectations are. And then she documented the date that they went on, the actual date happened, the actual day and time, the location, what they did, was she attracted to them physically? Was it a fun date? Who paid for it? Was there any awkwardness? Did she want to leave at any time? Did they kiss? Did she have sex? And what was her mood after the date? All of those are documented for the first 5 guys. And now the post date, what she documented. Did she talk afterwards? She had to document if each guy texted her or talked to her either the same day after the date or the next day after the date, or if it took some days. Who reached out first? Did she have to initiate the contact, or did they initiate the contact first? It's very important to determine what somebody's interest level is, because a person when you're their type and they like you, they're going to reach out to you. When you're not that type, they're not going to reach out as often as they should. You'll be doing more reaching out. This is where you notice your patterns. Was a second date planned? The next conversation, I told you the initial conversation was no more than 15 to 20 minutes. We've had the initial conversation and the first date. So now we're moving into longer conversations on the phone. That can be the 45-minute conversation, no more than an hour. Again, and learn how to pick and choose your topics, and don't be divulging anything that can be used against you in the future, okay? So what did it end in the second date being planned? If the second phone call was long, drawn out, and you got some things out, but it didn't end in what y'all was going to do next, then you drop the ball, go at it again, give one more phone conversation, no more than 15 minutes, and see if that one ends in the second date. If it doesn't, you just have to determine if you're going to put them on your roster, because you can already tell that they thought that one date was it. And do you want a man that thinks that one date is going to catch your attention, or do you want a man that consistently does things to catch your attention? And then the next question is, do you want to move him to the roster? That's the last consideration. So after Tammy sat through each date, She took some time to think about her experiences. She wasn't interested in any surface level charm or any flashy statuses. What mattered to her most was emotional maturity, communication, and shared values. So she had needs for communication, she had needs for emotional maturity, and she had needs for shared values. See, because she knows what she needs now, she knows that what she cannot accept or play with anymore. While she enjoyed all of their company, she narrowed her roster down to 3 guys. And she felt like she was going to get a deeper connection from these 3 guys. The 3 guys were Daquan, Damien, and Ethan. And let's go back up with Daquan. Initially, Tammy liked that he was charmed, he had quick wit, he had a great intellectual conversation, he was chivalrous. But again, there was a work-life balance. She decided that she can possibly try to play that out to see where that work-life balance goes if Daquan tries to include her more into his life. And then she chose Damien, the one who was stuck in his past. The main reason why Damien was chosen because she can sense an emotional depth there. She knows this man does want love and wants to be loved. So she knows that'll kind of play into her advantage. But he is still seen to be stuck on past relationships. So that's a red flag for her. However, it's still not enough for her not to move forward. And then Ethan. Ethan is the one that was a romantic and a gentleman. He explained so many different qualities that she liked. She was grounded. They shared some values. And there wasn't too much of nothing that she liked, that she didn't like about Ethan, okay? So those are the reasons why. Now, going back into that, she kept seeing Daquan because of their shared hobbies and intellectual charm. And I told you, conversation, she has a need for intellect and conversation. Daquan fulfills that need. Even though his career is a priority, she felt the chemistry there was something to keep exploring, okay? Remember I told y'all, every person is not going to be meant to be your lover. However, it doesn't mean that we want to cut him off the roster, because in the long run, Daquan might serve as a great homeboy versus a lover, but she does not know that until she learns more about him. Now, with Damien stayed on the roster because he was honest and in his ability to create emotional intimacy, even though he still seemed to be stuck on his past. It's the fact that he's in tune with his emotions. He does want to display them and give them as much love as he can to a woman. That's very appreciative. Tammy's going to also keep in mind that he still seems to be stuck on an ex, just in case the ex comes back knocking on his door and she's put to the side. And then as far as Ethan quickly rose to the top of her roster because of his genuine nature and his steady vibe, making her feel secured and valued. Okay, so Ethan came in with no negatives, all positives. She liked that. She's ready to move on with him. Now, Joe and David were fun, okay? But Tammy sensed they weren't right for her on a long-term connection. Joe and David can be immediately friend zoned. Tammy will not cut them off, but they will be placed back here where they will never have an opportunity to get anything romantic or intimate out of her. But she can use them if he wants to have a good club night, a good time. David wants to spend some money. Joe wants to go have fun. She's all for that, okay? But they're not on the roster. She's not dating them, but they can serve as friends. Now, let's break this down so you're handling these dates like a pro and you're keeping your power strong. Date nights on your term. And we talked about Monday through Thursday. All right. Keep the dates short and sweet. We're not doing 8-hour dates, 9-hour dates. They're going to be 2-hour dates, and that's going to be it. No more than 2 hours. Okay. Get in and get out. Learn what you need to learn, see what you need to see, and take it on home. People need to learn how to miss you. They need to know what life is like when you're not around. That's how they start developing emotional connections. If your dates are running into hours, you're going to fail to do that because he's going to be unseen so many different things from you, heard so many different things from you. You're not going to give him the power of mystery at all because you're going to be able to divulge too much and you know it. Then you want to stay clear-headed. Sorry, y'all. Lost my track. Hold on. Okay, you want to stay clear-headed on dates. Limit the smoking. Limit the drinking. Try to not do it at all. Do it before you go on a date. Do it when you get home from the date. Try not to let that be the reason why y'all connect on this date, the smoking and drinking. While I don't disapprove of it, I will say that if you're a person that loves to engage in smoking and drinking, then you're probably the person that hasn't recognized the patterns that you do sleep with the guys too soon because of the smoking and drinking, okay? This is why I want you to hold off on it. I'm not saying you can't do it, but get yourself more comfortable with the man first. before you start jumping into extracurricular activities that's going to lower your decision-making skills. Before you do something that you don't want to regret, let's stop moving with regrets and let's start moving with intention and actions. Okay. Cut off the after date calls. Now I know sometimes people want to call you after the date, they want to text you, and it can be turned into a long drawn out thing. Remember we talked about stop getting wrapped up in his texts and phone calls. Cut off these very long dates. Okay? I meant to say communication after the date. The customary, hey, did you make it home? I hope you made it home safe. I look forward to seeing you again. Blah, blah, blah. That's fine. The text message, hey, you got home? What you doing? What you got on? Send me a pic. Absolutely not. We're not sending pics. That's one thing. We're not sending pics to any man phone ever. Don't ever send a pic to a man phone. Okay? Don't do that. Keep him guessing, not digging. Another reason for you to not be QA and question this man to death on this date. You are not an interviewer. You are not his employer. But you do need to know certain things. So I told you to find that one question that's going to give you all the answers that you need, as opposed to you grilling and action question after question after question after question like you're trying to find fault. You're not trying to find fault. You're just trying to realize who this man is as a person outside of this date, outside of his family, outside of his friends, outside of his work. And then you also need to determine who he is within those environments as well. So keep the questions sexy, flirty, asking questions to get his character, his intention, not for you to be nosy or try to see what woman in his past got one up on you. You do not care about that. May the best woman win. Don't ask him about who else he's dating. Make sure he knows that you're dating others as well. Don't ask him about other women. Don't ask him about his past relationships, with the exception of, has he ever called the woman a bitch, or how close has he ever gotten to slapping a woman, anything like that. You want to ask about character and who he is in the relationships, not who the women were and what he did for them. Okay, so all of that is a first date etiquette. This chapter is in the final version of the book. It wasn't in the first one, but it is in here. So go ahead and grab your copy of the book from the TikTok shop, or click the link on this video and be able to purchase your copy. The ebook will come out eventually. Right now, I'm not focusing on any ebook sales because it's very advantageous that you have a hard copy of this book in your hand. This book is only $18.99, so it's not even a $20 book. The price of it will increase in the future, but right now it's $18.99. So get it while it's available at $18.99. Again, you will find it in the TikTok shop, and you will find it in a link on this video. Learning how to properly date multiple men at one time, sis, is a game changer. We have been taught the wrong way of dating for so long. Back in school, they taught us sex education, but they did not have a class on dating and how to get to the common goal of marriage. But they taught us sex. And that should let you know exactly where the minds of the American education is, and why a lot of times I tell y'all my kids can't go to school with y'all kids, because a lot of y'all kids are overexposed. Okay, sex education should not even be a lesson in any home or anywhere until you have learned how to teach your child or yourself about emotional intelligence, how to learn how to date multiple people without getting their emotions attached, and also the importance of safe love. Y'all always say safe sex, safe love. They have to be able to recognize the patterns of those who are threatening their life, or wanting to put their hands on them. Emotional trauma will have you going connected to people who have lived the same type of trauma and torture as you, but you won't realize that connection will only stiffen. It won't go anywhere, and you'll be picking up speed. All right, so we will get back on this journey. We've already talked about getting out of his text messages and his phone calls, but we now went through the first day etiquette, and now we got to jump into why you got to keep your options open. So that's what we'll be delving into after this. The next time we get here on this next video. I hope to see y'all again. This is Coach Erica China T. Make sure you review all the videos on YouTube to catch up. Go to the TikTok shop. Get your version of the Never Date Just One Sis book, or click the link down on this video, and we will talk tomorrow. Have a great day.